Welcome to Trading Lounge and the global indices, and we can see the market pushing up quite nicely. So tomorrow, Tuesday, before the market opens, we've got CPI figures and, of course, the FOMC announcement at 2 p.m. ET time, and that's probably why the markets are moving quite rapidly, because they think that the Feds won't raise rates at this particular point in time. In terms of the Elliott Wave structure, I think it's pretty much hello 5,000, because these are all impulse wave structures we're seeing to the upside, and this little area here around the 4.3, we're seeing that as the 61.8% from this top to the bottom here. One of the other questions, though, is that there's two possibilities of counting this as, well, wave 4 here or wave 2. Now, the reason I get wave 2 for is because when you look at the Nasdaq, a lot of these stocks, like that Nvidia, for example, the AI's the new kid on the street, so to speak. You can see, and the way that Tesla pulled back, and the way that meta platforms pulled back, their wave 2 price actions, patterns. So, but anyway, we always just move forward step by step. But in this particular count here, there's two ways to view this situation here as well. We could remove that and put wave 2 here as an A and a B and a C for wave 2 here. That's acceptable. I can squeeze 5 waves out of this move down through here. Counts better as a corrective wave, but I will be keeping an eye on that. So obviously it's this structure here that would be the main interest at the moment. So we're on a weekly chart here, obviously, and let's just move into the daily chart for a moment. So this would be the the 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, and this would be 1 and 2 here, going up for 3, 4, 5 for 3, yada yada yada. Continuing to move to the upside like that. If we go to the intraday now on the 20k, I'm a bit of a tick man. So we've got 1 and 2, 1 and 2, and this particular structure coming into this particular space here now is going quite nice. We'll be banging the top of that trend line quite shortly, and it's quite normal for the third of the third to breach this trend line and sit on the top of it. So we'll see how that goes. And look, it really just depends on what the Fed does as well, buy the rumor, sell the fact type of thing. But as you can see, and also too, this here could be counted differently as well. We could put this as wave 1 and 2 here, and then wave 1 and 2 here. So I'll just keep an eye on that as well. But the rest of the structure seems pretty good at this particular point in time. We can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 coming into here. So we'll be at this third wave here, and then we'll be looking for that fourth wave at that point, and then we'll look for that fifth wave there. Because the extension's in wave 3, that means that wave 1 here and wave 5 could be roughly the same, but take that with a pinch of salt. The idea, though, with the trading levels is that once we get a tested support on top of the 43 here, which is really roughly the 61.8%, and the 78.6 would be a bit further up. So in this area here, we'll see how the market could stall at that point. So we'll just keep a bit of an eye on that as well. But for the time being, we're not really seeing a turn in trend to the downside at this particular stage, but maybe it's, we could count this differently here. We could look at this as a 3 and 4 here, and then count 5 waves up here to finish at the 78.6. So, I won't stick my head in the sand. I like to look at both sides and weigh them up. And, I also like to look at the stock market, the thing that's driving the market as well, and what's driving the market and those sort of things. So we do that with Apple and Nvidia, and we can see where those markets are. There's still a long way to go with those. So So that's sort of where we are on the 20k tick chart. If I counted this a little bit differently here on the 10k, I normally keep a bit of an alternative count. That would be looking at it with wave C here of 2 on this last bit here, and then 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. But still, it still leaves us with a, you know, further upside. I mean, the main point here for me is looking at this structure. It will take us past 61.8%, which is the 43 here. So yeah, I think that's pretty important. So from 10k I'll just go to 5k and then 1k and so on. So just breaking it down a little bit further, so 1 and 2, 1 and 2. Yesterday I had this green wave 3 here, so I'm just expanding this up now as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then moving up here. Now there's a couple of different ways to count this as well. We can put wave 1 here, or we could put wave 1 here. But this is still going to be pushing up further, so we'll end up, you know, around the 4-4. So I'll just move into the 1000 tick just to drill into this space a little bit further. So from 1 and 2 here, 1 and 2, 1, 2, and 3, 4 here. It's possible if this is going to be parabolic move, which I don't think it is. It's just really trying, you know, it's all about the meeting on the Wednesday, I think. So, but I'll leave it as it is, as 3 and 4. And then in this case here, I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 in this case, and then continue to build here. And here we've got a third of a third. So we'll end up at 4-4 in this instance, and there'll be some stalling at the end of the session at 43.50. So you'll see a little dance across there, but we should see further upside with the S&P at this point. Yeah, so I'll just leave it. I won't bring the SPY across. So the Nasdaq here as well, we'll extend this up. So in this case, we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 here for 1 and 2. And here you can see 1, 2, 1 and 2 in the third wave here. So this has got further to move up higher here for this. We should see the markets play out across the 15,000, but it should be held within group 2 here. So when we talk about large numbers, well, any number really, they'll all numbers will have a group 1 and group 2, and in this case that would be the swing range for that. The market may play much tighter than all of that, but that's if you were looking for a trailing stop, you'd want to keep it outside of group 2, for instance, while the market, because big numbers attract big orders on both sides, and that's where the volatility can come in there. But we're still pushing to the upside for that. And the Russell here, so we're looking with this move up here, you know, we could count it depending if you're looking at the IWM, the ETF, or the futures market, because you can count them a little bit differently in this area down here, which would leave an extra wave over here. But so far we've got a wave A here and a B and a C wave. And as I like to say, when a market comes up, the A wave is normally sharp and the C wave is a bit lazy. So we can see the C wave in 5 waves being lazy compared to wave A here. And it does appear that we've got little wave 1 here, so we should see this sort of tag up higher here for this into those Tuesdays and Wednesdays. But this at the 1900 here will give us a classic trading levels pattern at this level. So the arrival, the reaction, first high above the level, and then a correction, and then further upside. So we'll be seeing, whoops, daisy, we didn't want that to go that big, but in there for this sort of thing. So we've reached here, we've got the ABC pattern, and now we're looking for this move up through here. So it will fold back if you're looking for another entry on that side of things. The Dow Jones, I've always liked the Dow Jones as being bullish, so I've always had this as 1 and 2 here, and then 1 and 2 here, and we're seeing here 1, 2, little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for third, fourth, fifth for 1, and then the ABC. So, you know, I wanted to set this up over this side, so we're just keeping an eye on that. There's no big deal at this point, no point in actually chasing that. So then we come over to the European markets, and the European and the Asian markets are a little bit different. And you know, this is the weekly chart for the UK market. I'll normally bring in the DAX first, so let's do that. I forgot completely all about it. Sorry about that, DAX. Okay, so I haven't cleaned it up. It's a little bit messy, but we'll just move forward anyway. I don't want to burn up time. So there's two ways we're looking at this market here. So first of all, with wave one top up here, so all the way up for wave one top. And I've never really been, even though I've counted it up as wave one and done all the counting, I've never really liked it as wave one, because all the structures to the upside in truth could be counted in different ways, at least three different ways that I could see. So I was never really happy with it, So when I don't understand something, I revert back to the trading levels, i.e., e.g. the price, or I just move with the intraday, and I kind of work the intraday to a point where it's either going to be this or that, and that's kind of what we're looking at the moment. So in one way or another, we can look at this here as a blue wave A, blue wave B, and a blue wave C at this point, and then making new highs, an A, B, C, and then continuing to make new highs. The other side to this was giving this wave one a chance at the top here, and looking at this as an A wave here, then an A and a B and a C wave over here for this B wave to sit here for that. And if that was the case, that would be 1 and 2 in here. This would be 1, 2, 3 here. So it's going to take me a little bit higher here. So let me just clean a few things up here. So this, we could borrow a few things. So let's just borrow this as 1 and 2 here. And you've kind of got to play it out to the max. So this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for this one. And then there'll be a little wave 4 here and a little wave 5 up here for that. So that would be playing it out to the max. But the thing that I don't, this is not going to be a wave B over here and we're going to go higher up here, is partly because of the S&P 500, but more so than that, if this was going to be bearish in all fairness, then we would, especially at this degree of wave 1 here, this would have to be wave 1 here to the downside, and then wave 2, but we can't put wave 2 over here. This is all just too big. It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So that's not going to be the case. So we'll be looking in the next video we'll start looking further to the upside, but at the same time we'll just allow it to play out. We'll go see what the Feds have got to say for themselves. We'll play it out to that point, and anything beyond this top here, then we know that we're more bullish at that point, and we can go long over there for that. Okay, so we just got to play it out to the max, and that leaves us coming back to the FTSE here. So the FTSE here on the weekly chart, we could count this up as 1 and 2 here, and then 1 ABC for 2 here, and 3, 4, 5 for the third wave, and ABC for the fourth, and then up to the fifth. So that's a reasonable case too to put a wave 1 up there, isn't it? So that's what I was thinking. And then we kind of had 5 waves down here. We could count that as 5 or 3. That was the annoying thing. And this one up here counts better as 3 waves up here. So I was thinking that, that we would have this as a B wave here and come down for a C wave here, and everything would be fine, and then would move up from that point. But I don't know, it's just not really sort of giving it to me at this point. Now, it could, but then I think to myself, well, if I've gone wrong, where would I have gone wrong? What would we do about this situation? Obviously, the reality here, and a 9-year-old will tell you this, is that you're in an uptrend, and picking the top is a bit of a loser's game. You can be cautious and you can be looking at it, and it's okay to shoot the breeze about these things. We can see the stochastics down here too, that sort of reluctantly wants to go down. You see the angle of it, so it doesn't really want to go down. So that kind of is a bit of a warning sign to me. It's really the subtleties with indicators that makes them sort of worthwhile. But yeah, so if we were going to look at this differently here, then we could probably look at this a little bit differently again here as well. We could look at we could look at this as wave 1 over here and wave 2 here, and then wave 1 and 2. So we haven't finished to the upside, so I've got to rebuild it to the upside. Now, this move up here, let's just call this wave 2. We can put another wave 1 in there, it doesn't matter. So it's sitting at its 50-60% here. So as long as that pretty much holds, because the move down here so far can also count as a as a corrective wave. This could be counted as an impulse wave or a corrective wave. So this is why it's been a little bit of a prob. We go to the daily chart here for a moment. So we could look at this as an A and a B and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so then we could look at this here as 1 and 2. Now, I'm not saying this is the case at all, okay? I'm just shooting the breeze here, just trying to get a feel for everything, because this particular move here, yes, I can count it as 5 waves up, but it's just better suited as an A and a B and a C wave up here. So, yeah, I mean, we can count 5, we can count 5 waves to here and then a correction, then 5 to here. So we could do it like that. We could also count it down as 5 waves as 1 and 2 and 3 here. And then for the 4th wave, we've got an A, B, C, D, E over here for this. And then we go down. So there's different ways to count it. I was just sort of interested to see if it's going to sort of move with the US markets, because it's pretty hard to see. Well, even also the Australian market is very much like the English market. It's hard to see the US markets go into a bullish, a big bullish picture without the European or the Asian market sort of moving along with that. Now, I know that we can get like a 2-week lag with the European markets. I've seen it been around long enough. So I understand the lag. I understand that we could view these in different ways. I don't have any answers really for all of this just yet. We just got to keep sort of tinkering with it until I get it, because I'd rather say that that I don't know. And yeah, so we're sort of looking at something, this would be the bullish side to it, and the stochastics here have been sort of pulling back, so we could see a further upside here on this as well. I don't want to call a trade in here just yet. What I would look for though is that if out of the blue that we get a nice little impulse wave up here, 5 waves, well then perhaps tomorrow after the Fed has spoken, then we could look for a trade to the upside here, because I have to be careful that we don't get some sort of A, B and C wave up here in 5 waves and then we come down again. That's one of my fears with this. So I've got to kind of get past a few hurdles before I do anything here. There is a bearish side to this. I won't go into it, but I won't have any answers for a little while yet on this. And then we move over to the Australian market. And I want to start with the Australian dollar, because I kind of see the resource market moving to the upside. Yesterday we had a look at the US XME, and it was in a big triangle pattern there that needs to play out. But at the same time, we're seeing, of course, Australia is the dollar is a commodity dollar, so to speak, and we'd been looking at this as wave 1 with an A and a B and a C, and we're working the low here, and we're using an ETF to go long in this, the FXA. Yeah, but we're still looking for a little top in this one here as a little wave 1 and a pullback for a wave 2 here. It's not long. The US dollar hasn't got another little push to the upside. Then that should be completed as well at this point. We do have an impulse wave here, so we will look to purchase the pullback in this area here. But if this is going to be moving up here, then resources are going to be moving up, and that's what I'm kind of seeing. I'll do a little dance around here for a moment. The XXJ here, this is the banking sector. So the banking sector, I think it's in a triangle pattern. It's a bit sort of hard to work. Will it take the tops out here? I think it's got further downside to go first in all of that, but I wanted to just have a look at the XMJ here, the resources here, and I want to go to the daily chart here just to, this is what we're looking at. I think we could have even looked at this yesterday or the day before or something or other, can't recall, but yeah, I mean, it does look a little bit as 1 and 2 here and 3 here, and this is pretty ugly to be a wave 4, and BHP's like this as well, so I'm not sure where the BHP BHP chart is at the moment, but it doesn't really matter. But BHP is a bit like this, so it does, with the dollar going up, it looks like we can, go long in this, up high. It looks like the resources are going to go higher, right? That's what I'm just trying to say. When we look at the banks, I know that the banks can have a bounce, like the WBC is hitting $20 here, so it might sink into it, but it's going to have some sort of bounce, and it does have, in its own way, this would be some sort of wave 1 here, and 2, and some sort of third wave and fourth wave. And is this finished yet? Is it going to sink in lower here? We can expect the US banks to rally while this strength is going on. They can rally for a couple of weeks, perhaps 10 days, and then they're going to turn down. Let's just have a look at CBA for a moment while we're here, just for the banking side of things. I thought that the banking side of things here would give us this here, so an A wave here for the CommBank, and then an ABC here for the B wave, and up to the C wave here. We're either going to move up here, right, or we're going to move a little way up, and then we're going to come down at that point, and we can look to short it. But we're looking for we got 5 waves here, so we're looking for the turn here. So realistically, we should see the ASX 200 move up from this point. But the thing is like the FTSE, I don't particularly understand the ASX here. This is the ASX here. So it seems to be working in lots of 3. It seems to be a little bit like the banks that are in a big triangle pattern. That's the high on the XJO, this one over here. So we've got this, first of all, we've got this move here, right? So this is not an impulse wave from here to here, right? This is corrective. So this being corrective makes all of this corrective, and eventually we'll make a new high above here, right? So this is a corrective pattern. It probably looks like a wave 4, and it looks like it could be a triangle pattern. I really don't have a good grip on it. I feel like I'm just in the guessing game, and I don't feel very helpful with it. I mean, we can see that we're going to get some support in here, and in fact on the cash market that's already hitting. If you line that up on the XJO, that's already hitting on this particular trend line here, already breached it actually. This here also, I can count it up as 5 waves, but it counts up like the FTSE, but it also counts up quite nicely, or even better, as a corrective wave. So this down here, let's pull back to the 61.8%. I don't know what's going to happen with it, actually. I'm just looking at this particular pattern here because this is what the resources, be pushing up would be sort of doing, and the US banks would be pushing up. So perhaps our Australian banks will sort of push up with them as well. But I do feel that we are on a low here for this. So from this low here, I mean, this is a CFD product, so it's not perfect, but the 61.8% is here. We've got support. We could see that move up from support. It's come back down. So there is support here, and it looks like the general market wants to go up at this particular point. So how far it goes up, I'm not sure if it goes up a wee way or if it goes up even higher for this. This move here can be counted as corrective. I'm not really quite sure the best way to count this configuration in here as well. So we could count it like the FTSE. We could go an ABC here for the A wave, and then a B wave, and then 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5, but it doesn't count very well. So yeah, I don't know the best way to count this. That's the truth of the matter. And I think that we should be going long at the moment with this, but I just don't know how far it goes. I won't even go into the intraday, because the thing is that I don't have a good understanding of where it's at the moment. Okay. Yeah, I'd only lead you astray, so I'm better off saying no. But obviously the market wants to go up, so probably being on the long side, we're at 71.18, so it's 71.20, so 71.20 20, you'll see a little classic trading levels pattern there, and that will take you up to 71.30. So I'd get out at 30 and wait to see if you get a classic trading levels pattern at 71.30, which would be the top of group 1 of 7100. And if that's the case, then you can go up to the 50 at that point. Yeah, so I don't know if this is going to be a corrective rally here and then we breach and make new lows here. I don't know if that's the case. It'll probably also depend on what the US markets are doing, because this is kind of lifting up with them. But come the CPI figures tomorrow and the rates on the Wednesday, then we could see this continue to the downside at this point. So, but anyway, that's the take for today. Cheers.